You want to see something wild? My name is Joey, and I live and work at the Mountain Retreat and Learning Center. And one of the coolest things about living and working at this place is our scenery, our location, which is surrounded by national forests in what is actually temperate rainforest. So we get over 100 inches of rain a year, and what that precipitation allows us to experience is a great plethora and diversity of wild mushroom and plants that love this habitat. And so foraging for wild mushrooms is something that you should be respectful, and you should have caution. For example, in the southeast we have two lethal mushrooms, which you should become familiar with: destroying angel and deadly gallerina. But today I'm going to focus on three mushrooms that are pretty common to find in these woods if you ever come to the mountain. And so when I pick wild mushrooms, I bring my mushroom knife. So I'm going to cut the mushroom so as to not disturb the forest floor and the mycelium underneath the soil, and I'm going to clean off any dirt. And I have a permit to sell wild mushrooms that I pick from national forests. And so one mushroom that I'm going to show you right here is called fish cap. And it is a milk cap, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I take my mushroom knife. I see a brown mushroom sitting in the woods, and I already know that when I cut this mushroom, it's going to produce a latex. So just off the cap right there, I see a little bit of milkiness, and then to really show it, I'm going to cut the gills. And everywhere I cut, a little bit of latex is pouring out, okay? And it's even coming down onto my hand. And so this white latex lets you know that it's a milk cap mushroom. Not all milk caps are good to eat. Some of them have an incredibly spicy flavor experience when you put that latex on your mouth. So I am comfortable touching this latex on my tongue, and it's not going to produce any spiciness. And this is one of my friends. This is a fish cap, and after a while, this latex will kind of get sticky on my hands, and it will start smelling like fish, and that's where it gets its name from. But a really awesome, just kind of like good mushroom to add and saute in a pan, and you should always cook wild mushrooms. The chanterelle is a prized wild mushroom, a delicacy of the forest that you can't cultivate, you can only find in the woods. And so I've cut them here, and some of the distinguishing features of chanterelles is they have a nice floral smell to them. Some people will describe it as apricot-y, and they have very shallow gills. So you notice the milk cap has very, very deep bladed gills, whereas the chanterelle has more pruny wrinkles, and that's one distinguishing feature. It's always this orange feature, but some of them are bright orange, like the cinnabar chanterelle. And notice that towards the edge of the cap, these gills fork off into kind of a Y shape. And this is a mushroom that grows straight out of the soil. Both of these mushrooms you'll find never on wood, only coming straight out of the soil. So the chanterelle is prized, and in parts of France you can only pick 1 pound of it per year. And both of these mushrooms are gourmet mushrooms that are very good, cooked in butter or coconut oil or olive oil, and really awesome. You can always cook and freeze them as a way to preserve them. And the last mushroom is a freak of nature that we have to share with you. This was, my friend Matt found this, and he noticed above the ground little orange clubs, and he excavated and discovered this moth pupa. So this is a Cordyceps mushroom, and the Cordyceps has infected the pupa, taken it over, and then burst out of the ground and made this little orange mushroom produce coming out of the soil. So it's called entomopathagy, and it's killed the insect. So it's kind of scary. They don't affect humans, I promise. But this mushroom is prized around the world for its medicinal benefits. So it's generally seen as an energy boosting mushroom. It kind of mimics ATP in your cells. So ATP is like kind of the energy building block of all of our cellular functions. So this mushroom, when ground up into a powder, made a tincture, or just drinking as a tea, is said to be energy boosting. And most Chinese Olympic athletes are taking Cordyceps supplements. So these are just a kind of a couple sampling of what we might find in the woods around here. It's peak summer right now, so chanterelle season is really kicking off. Chicken of the woods, another great wild mushroom. But yeah, I love living and working where I do because of this experience that I can go out here. I love foraging for wild foods. I think it is a great conflux of several aspects of life, including indigenous people's knowledge that has either been lost or is scattered about, and we should always pay homage to them. It's very humbling to go out in the woods and not know what I'm going to find, and it's not to say I deserve this wild foods, but I'm very humbled, and I must obviously give gratitude when I do find a boatload of chanterelles. I think it's cool to think about the seasons as they change throughout the year and to appreciate the seasonality as I look forward to the next season of wild mushrooms that will come in the fall, for example. I think it's a great way for people to make a little bit of income. So socioeconomics, oftentimes foraging is seen as poor person's hobby for sustenance in the past, but now it's really people are going gangbusters for kind of the gourmet side of foraging. Of a lot of these flavors are something you can't really recreate out of your garden. It's something that you can only find in the woods, and bringing that woods home with you is a cool way to commune with the forest that is so special to this region. And yeah, I'm very grateful. Thank you for spending a little time in the woods with me. And go find some weird mushrooms.